Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well. So, off the back of yesterday's win, right? Not the most impressive, but a 2-0 win against LAFC. Chelsea pick up 3 points. In the other game, there was a win for Flamengo against ES Tunis. It did finish 2-0 to Flamengo, so they join us top of the group at the moment, and we got to play each other next. That could be the game that decides who's going to finish top of the group. So we'll see what happens when that game comes around. If you want to catch the review for yesterday's game, you can go and have a look. If you haven't watched it and you're living in a cave, go and have a look now and enjoy, and then head back to this one. So I did say that I was going to talk about a big piece of transfer news that appeared before yesterday's game, but I wasn't going to address because of the game. We've done the watch along, we've done the review. So here's the time where we're going to talk about this geezer. And some of you may know him, and some of you might not actually know him, right? Malick Fofana of Lyon, 20 years old. Well, what's the latest? Let's jump right into it. Here it is. Breaking from yesterday. Chelsea officials have called for Malick Fofana. Lyon value him at around 42 million. David Ornstein came out and said Chelsea make verbal inquiry to Lyon regarding Malick Fofana. 20 years old, Olympique Lyonnais winger. Among multiple options, Chelsea considering amid Jadon Sancho exit. Nothing advanced for Belgium international, but discussions continue. And that was brought out by L'Equipe in France, and then obviously The Athletic and David Ornstein and everyone got onto it. The same with Fabrizio Romano, who I'm about to show you. But before we do, let's talk about Malick Fofana. 20 years old, right? Another young player, yeah? You're probably expecting to hear a certain narrative from me on this, right? I'm about to surprise all of you. Malick Fofana is actually a young player I would take. Yeah, I know. It sounds wild. Yeah, I'm in for a young player. Mad. The world's ending. Malick Fofana. I got to be honest, I wasn't expecting this. Why? Considering Lyon just got rid of Cherki because Lyon are in a really bad position now. Facing possible relegation into Ligue 2 in France. Big financial turmoil because of what's happened at the club. It makes sense, to be honest, why they're going to have to offload players. But because they offloaded Cherki, I thought, well, okay, that's it. They're not going to offload Fofana. They're not going to offload the rest of their attackers. I mean, they're going to try and hold on to whoever they can hold on to. If not, they got no chance left. They're strapped. You know, they do need the money, but they do need a team. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, this... He wasn't even a player that I considered. Yeah, not a chance. I'm like, there's no way. And now this happens. Malick Fofana is a left winger that I would take. And why? Those of you that know me on this channel know that I always appreciate one certain attribute in a player, wherever it is and whoever it is. There's always one attribute that I try to look for in players that, for me, is number one. And what is it? I've said this countless times, and you guys know me. A player that doesn't just use their legs, but a player that uses their brain. A player that you can see there's a thought process, there's a logic behind every single decision they're making. They're able to think on the spot, they're able to get themselves out of situations, they're able to have IQ, they're able to read the game. That, for me, is very important, and that's why I'm on the back of Madueke sometimes. That's why I've been on the back of certain players. Nico Jackson. That's why, because there's times in games where it just looks like they're just going all in straight into a brick wall. I'm like, brother, have you not thought about what you're going to do here? You know, it's just execute, 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 execute. And it's just like, it's like a robot. It's like, no, in moments, you need to be able to innovate. Innovate. Fofana innovates. Go and look at Fofana play, right? And I know some of you had exposure to Fofana when Lyon played against Manchester United, and that was a good performance. But go and look at the way that Fofana plays, and look at how, not when he hugs that touchline, but the moment he gets the ball, he's already got a decision in his head of what he's going to do. He knows the threat that's coming towards him. He's already got it calculated, and he executes really, really well. Nutmeg, skills, dribbling, getting past defenders, creating. Some of you may say he doesn't shoot enough, but I will counter that. Because I would rather someone not shoot enough, but when they do shoot, it's clinical. Compared to someone that just shoot, and they're not thinking about where the ball's going. There are players, this is my problem, and I criticized Madueke for this before, where the ball just comes and it's like, okay, the goal's there, hit it. Just hit it. Just hit. No, like, read the game. Look at think of where you're going to put it. Try and put it in a place. Like I love, for me, that's just the way that I'm kind of old school. I like players that are able to do that sort of thing on the pitch, right? Not just look at numbers. I took 150 shots today. Great. Like, no, you know, it's not just about that, because you can get 99 of them that are just going straight to the goalkeeper and it doesn't do anything. I'm not for that. I want it to actually mean something. When Fofana shoots, it always works the keeper. It tends to go in. It's always accurate, at least. So there's that. But in terms of being able to work in really tight spaces, get past defenders, create in moments where you're thinking, how has he gotten out of that one? That's the sort of player Fofana is, and that's why I like him. 20 years old, I get the whole thing, and this is where, look, I appreciate we've all got PTSD here, yeah, on young players, because we've tried to sign every single young player on the planet, basically, right? And that's my criticism on the model, in terms of just going only for all the young players and just waiting for something to click. Like, that obviously is not how you're meant to do it. But it doesn't mean that you abandon all young players. You can't go to the opposite extreme. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the team needs 2 or 3 experienced gems that can come in and lift the level of the squad, but it doesn't mean just neglect all young players. I'm saying if you are going to go for young players, this is the sort of young player you go for me. Yeah? Fofana is that young player that I'm happy to have in the team. For me, Fofana is better than Gittins. If you gave me the choice, Fofana or Gittins, I'm taking Fofana. Because I see Gittins as the sort of player that I described earlier on, that is just run, shoot, hope. He strikes me as that sort of winger. And sometimes it will work, but there's going to be many times where it doesn't. I would rather have someone, that's just me, my own personal preference here. I want someone, especially on the wing, that I can trust to have the skill to dominate any situation. And I feel like Fofana's got that in his locker. That's why I'm totally for this. But there's quite a few of you, and I do agree here, that think this link might just be to get Dortmund to think, oh crap, maybe they're not coming in for Gittins anymore. Negotiation tactic. I hope not, but here's Fabrizio. Chelsea consider Jamie Bino Gittins as their priority target as winger, with talks to follow with Dortmund, agreement still sealed with player side. The club also made an inquiry for Malick Fofana in direct contact with Lyon, as Hugo Girime, I think it's pronounced, reported, no proposal at this stage. So I do get where a lot of you are thinking, okay, look, maybe they've just made it public on the inquiry to get Dortmund to think, oh crap. There's also the opinion from a few of you that reckon maybe we're going for both. We're going for both. And to be honest, we're going to come to the whole left wing market on the next thing that I'm about to show you, right? Because there's news on Nico Williams. There really isn't anyone else to go for except Rafael Leao. And I'm kind of, to be honest, if I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of baffled how there's not been any sort of move for Leao at all. Leao's a top left winger, let's be honest. How much would he cost in terms of salary? That is still unclear, right? He won't be cheap. This is what you do for top ballers, right? Leao is someone that you can't say no to. If you were to get Leao and then end up with either one of these guys, Gittins or Fofana, as their understudy perhaps, yeah, I'm all for that. Absolutely, I think we'd be covered. If you can't go for Leao, you're not going to go for Leao, whatever the situation is, you're not going to go for Nico Williams, and I'll explain why in a sec. There's no one else that's available. So do you actually go and get Gittins and Fofana, perhaps? And now you've got 2 options on that left wing, whilst on the right-hand side, we would have 2 options again, which is Pedro Neto and Madueke. with a third of Esteval Willian coming in. At that point, the winger situation is pretty much stacked, right? So that it could be a direction where Chelsea are going in. Perhaps maybe we go and get Gittins and Fofana, right? That would cost in around the region of 100 million, clearly. Although I would say that with Lyon, I think we can get a deal because Lyon are strapped for cash and we know they're desperate, right? They're in a financial situation. So I reckon 42 million is just their asking price is pretty high. You can probably knock nearly half of that off, if I'm being completely honest, because Lyon are not going to say no to money right now, I don't think. So we'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts on Fofana. What do you think on the whole situation with Fofana and Gittins? Who would you prefer is what I want to ask you guys. I think we're going to get a 50-50 split here, but let me know in the comments. Who do you prefer, Fofana or Gittins? I'd love to know. Now, Nico Williams, what's the latest? Here it is. Barcelona have decided to activate the Nico Williams deal option after getting players total priority. Barca will need more rounds of talks with his agent as they'll need to discuss terms of €58 million release clause with Athletic Bilbao. Not advanced yet, but Barca are now trying. We then got an update today from David Ornstein. Arsenal and Chelsea call Nico Williams' interest as Barcelona step up pursuit and Bayern Munich consider move. Barcelona want to do deal plus appeal to 22-year-olds, but complicated by financial situation. Bayern made contract offer and may improve it. So it's not looking good for either us or for Arsenal on this. And to be honest, I don't know about Arsenal, but I don't think Chelsea were really, really in for him. I am. I'd take Nico Williams tomorrow. You know, imagine Nico Williams then having, you know, either the Fofana, but for me, I prefer Fofana. Imagine having Nico Williams and Fofana, left winger sorted, done. We don't need to look again. We'll be set, right? I don't think Chelsea were really, really, really interested. You know, maybe we like him, but I don't think we've even made a move or a phone call about Nico. I'll be honest. So Barcelona is where he's going to end up without question. It just fits for him, for the club, for everybody. It fits. He stays in Spain. He levels up. It is what it is. It is what it is with that. It is what it is. So let me know your thoughts on that one. Nico Williams looking like it's going to be Barcelona. What do you think and how do you think he'll fare there? No. Now, back to Chelsea. Here's Simon Johnson. Chelsea are in the market for an all-round attacker with candidates including Kudus, Ekitike and João Pedro. Interesting. So is this final signing going to be someone that can occupy any area of that front line? Is that, maybe we're not going after a striker. Now we've got Liam Delap in. Maybe we're going for someone that can occupy any area, and is a hybrid, basically, right? Versatility. If that's the case, I have to be honest, the names that we've just mentioned, I think Kudus ticks the boxes here. Am I wrong or am I right? I think Kudus, right? João Pedro, I already discussed yesterday. Newcastle are in for him, but it's going to cost around 60 million. I'll be honest. I think that's too steep for João Pedro, although João Pedro is a decent baller. But again, I don't want to talk to Brighton. I just don't want to. I don't. Not Brighton, no. I'd rather we go buy from Accrington Stanley than Brighton. Be honest. I don't want to go near them again. I really don't. Although, like I said before, I have to be fair. You know, Caicedo and Cucurella are playing really well now. So I'm between a rock and a hard place here, honestly. What do you guys think? But like I said, in regards to that, Ekitike is just ridiculous money at the moment. It really is. And I think Frankfurt understand the demand that there is in for their player. But Kudus, I would take Kudus. I really would. He can play on the right. He can play down the middle. He can play on the left. Doesn't do it very often, but has done prior. Can play in central areas behind the striker. He does fit that sort of requirement. But do we actually go in for him? We'll see. But yeah, João Pedro. Personally, I think it's Kudus. I would love Kudus. If that's what we're looking for, I would love Kudus. You agree? Let me know down below. Now, Simon Johnson goes into some detail here on Gittins. Gittins is clearly the most likely to fill the Chelsea winger role as things stand. Among the candidates being viewed to meet their other attacking requirements are Ekitike, Kudus and João Pedro. A verbal inquiry for Fofana also made. I feel like we also need to see what's going to happen with the lap, right? This Club World Cup is a good indicator to see what's going to happen with the lap. What kind of player have we actually got on our hands? Because yesterday was a good first impression. We need to see more and understand whether that is someone that we can really rely on to go in as our striker week in, week out, which we're still unsure about. I'm still unsure about. We don't know, although so far so good. Before we know what we're actually going to do in the transfer window. Because we do need a winger, maybe two. And then if we go for an all-round attacker that can fill in the gap anywhere needed, is that going to be enough? Or should we still go in for an actual striker again? That is what we need to determine. And I feel like we'll get some sort of an answer during this Club World Cup after we've seen how Delap is going to play, what Jackson's saying, although we know what Jackson's saying, I'll be honest. And then we'll be able to really understand what balance we've got in this team. So let's see. That one's going to give a little bit of time. We'll see over the next couple of weeks. And then I feel like we can really make a move. The transfer window is just reopened. Still a lot of time left. So we'll give it some moments and we'll see what happens. So let me know your thoughts on all of that. And what would you do? What do you think Chelsea actually needs? Like I've mentioned, an all-round attacker or an actual striker? With the wingers, of course, we're going to go in for them anyway. But what would you go for? Would you rather go in for another striker or would you take someone like Kudus or João Pedro? Let me know. Now, Petrovic, as we wrap up, what's the latest? Simon Johnson has said there is a gentleman's agreement for the sale of Petrovic if a club bids £25 million. That's stupid, I'll be honest. 25 million is not enough. For me, it's not enough. Petrovic, young, fantastic goalkeeper, had a great season at Strasbourg. Was Chelsea #1 before that, under Poch. 25 mil? Come on, man. I'd be asking for 35 minimum. Minimum. You have to understand. All right, if we're going to be fair, if we're going to go down this route, where we're ready to pay all sorts of big money, or clubs are paying big money and all sorts. Well, 25 million is peanuts nowadays. It's not like 25 million of 10 years ago. 25 million is nothing now for a player of his age and his good ability so far, right? Inflation is a thing, right? Everyone's value's gone up, right? Well, Petrovic, 35, 40 million, please. Or like I said yesterday, if the plan is to actually get him over to Strasbourg, then technically he's still our player. You know what I mean? So, on one condition, like I said yesterday, if we're going for Mike Maignan, then cool, right? I'll be cool. You can send Petrovic to Strasbourg and let him have him. And then if anything happens, we can always get him back. That is something that, okay, I can understand the logic there. But only if we're actually going for Mike Maignan and we actually get him after the Club World Cup. That's my condition here. So, again, it's one that we have to give a little bit of time to. Let's see what happens. Let me know your thoughts on that. To wrap up, Alfie Gilchrist. We got an update. Alfie Gilchrist will leave Chelsea on a permanent deal this summer. There's strong interest from Championship with several options being considered. This is a shame, you know. Oh, George Benson's getting sold, man. Benson, man. By the way, talking about Benson, go and check out the Reddit video. That is actually up, by the way. I had to re-upload because of a copyright. So that is up today. Make sure you guys go and check that out. There is the thing that I addressed about me and George. It was on the Reddit, so go and have a look. But Alfie Gilchrist, yeah, this is a shame because I like Gilchrist, right? I like what he's about, you know? Seems like a young, old school defender. I like that, right? But I say, yeah, it was never going to work, but he's not really broken himself into the first team. So I don't really know what to expect from Alfie Gilchrist going forward. I do feel like obviously we need levels in the defense, and we do need to bolster. Gilchrist is someone that you have to give a lot of time to. I would love to just send him on loan instead of just sell him. Maybe we put in a buyback. That's the bare minimum that I think we should do, because I feel that there's a good defender in there. So let's see what happens there. Let me know your thoughts on Gilchrist. And to wrap up, there is news on what Chelsea are going to be doing in the pre-season, which seems like a good thing. So Chelsea Football Club will be staging a pre-season tournament this August with European heavyweights AC Milan and Bayer Leverkusen also participating in the 2025 Visit Malta weekender. Visit Malta, guys. I might visit Malta. It seems like a good place. But anyway, This is good. 2 games at the Bridge. Don't do anything else. Don't do anything else. Look, we're in a Club World Cup. The players need a holiday after this. Then we got to have a little pre-season, but keep it at home. No traveling, no nothing. We're doing our traveling. I don't want to see us go abroad. Don't go anywhere. Bring these teams that have not participated in the Club World Cup to the Bridge. Yes, I'm all for that. 2 games at home. Great. We can then start the season. Don't add any more games. These 2 are more than enough. So in terms of pre-season, I would say Chelsea have done a good thing here. Very good decision to keep it at the Bridge. And 2 good opponents, good preparation. I'm all for it. So let me know your thoughts on that one. We wrap up. Thank you all so much. Later on tonight, second video. Make sure you're here. Subscribe, notification bell on. Second channel, make sure you're sub. Check out the Reddit video like I've said. And I'll catch all of you tonight. In a bit, people. Look after yourself. See you later. Take care and peace.